On a bright Saturday morning in Riverside Estate, one of those busy neighborhoods in Lagos where news traveled faster than the speed of light, and everyone knew everyone's business, the compound at number 15, Palm Avenue buzzed with its usual energy. Babies cried, radios blasted Afrobeats music, and women gathered at the water tap, pretending to fetch water while their ears collected the day's gossip like satellite dishes. That same morning, Grace arrived with her husband, Chitty, carrying 2 suitcases and a small bag of kitchen items. Grace was a soft-spoken young woman from Enugu with gentle eyes and a calmness that seemed to irritate people who thrived on drama. She wore a simple blue dress with her natural hair neatly braided. Her face carried the hopeful expression of a woman who still believed that love and honesty could conquer anything. Chitty, her husband, worked as a software engineer at a tech company in Victoria Island. He was gentle and respectful, the type of man who said please and thank you to everyone, even taxi drivers. They had rented the last room near the back gate, a small space that had cracks in the ceiling, but it was all they could afford on their budget. Grace thought it was the beginning of something beautiful. The other women in the compound noticed her immediately. Mama Ngozi, the self-appointed queen of gossip, spotted them from her window and called out, new people have arrived. Come and see. Maybe this one will bring fresh drama to this compound." Within minutes, 3 more women joined her. Sister Beezy, who changed her hair color every week. Auntie Shade, who never cooked without complaining about her husband. And Sister Taupe, who claimed to be modern because she spent all day on Instagram. They watched as Grace quietly swept her doorstep and hung Chitty's shirts on the clothesline while humming a gospel song. Mama Ngozi said, shaking her head. "You can see she's fresh from the village. Look at how she's smiling for no reason. She will soon learn." Sister Beezy laughed. "These new wives always start like this. Give her 2 months. After her husband shouts at her once, she will stop singing those church songs." Auntie Shade added, "Can you see how she's folding his shirts like a housemaid? In this Lagos, my dear, I can never bend like that for any man." The women erupted in laughter, so loud that Grace looked up and smiled politely. "Good morning, my sisters." "Good morning, oh," Mama Ngozi replied with a tone that carried more mockery than warmth. "Welcome to the compound, dear. We are very friendly here." Friendly wasn't exactly the right word, but Grace didn't know that yet. She thanked them shyly and went back to sweeping as if she could sweep away all negativity with her broom. Later that afternoon, as Grace cooked jollof rice on her small gas stove, the women came to visit. They sat outside her door like a panel of judges. "So where are you from, my dear?" Sister Beezy asked. "Enugu," Grace replied with a smile. "My husband and I just got married 4 weeks ago. We thank God for this home." The women exchanged knowing glances. "You mean you still thank God for this compound?" Auntie Shade said with fake surprise. "You will thank him again when you meet the landlord on rent day." Everyone laughed. Mama Ngozi leaned closer. "And what does your husband do, sweetheart?" "He's a software engineer," Grace said proudly. "He works for a tech company on the island." "Software engineer?" Sister Taupe exclaimed. We have a big man here. That means good money. So you must be eating well, right?" Grace smiled shyly. "We manage." "Manage?" Auntie Shade scoffed. "My dear, don't let this man deceive you. If he brings salary, keep some small money for yourself. These men are not to be trusted." Mama Ngozi nodded with authority. "Let me tell you, we women here have survived many things. These Lagos men will smile at you in the morning and send money to their side chicks in the evening. You must learn to be wise. Keep your own money. If he gives you 50,000 naira, tell him it was 40,000. Keep 10,000. That's how we survive. It's called wife wisdom." Grace stared at them, confused. "But if he trusts me with 50,000, why should I lie about it?" The women froze for a moment, then burst into mocking laughter. Sister Taupe clapped her hands. Do you hear this one? We have a saint in Riverside Estate. Sister Honesty herself. Wait until she finds another woman's number in her husband's phone. Then she'll stop preaching." Grace's cheeks flushed. "But my husband is not that kind of man," she said softly. Mama Ngozi chuckled. "All men are that kind of man, dear. The only difference is time." They laughed again, sipping their soft drinks like they were judges delivering a verdict. Grace smiled weakly and continued stirring her pot, pretending not to hear them. She didn't like the conversation, but she didn't want to offend anyone either. When she served dinner that night, Chitty said, "The compound seems lively." Grace giggled. "Yes, maybe too lively. The women here talk a lot." Chitty laughed. "You'll fit in soon. Just be yourself." "I will," Grace said, though deep down, she wasn't sure if being herself was enough. By the second week, the compound women had made it their mission to educate her. They told her not to iron her husband's clothes too perfectly, because men who look too good start getting attention from other women. They told her not to cook expensive meals too often because he would get used to luxury and forget to appreciate her sacrifices. They even suggested she should start checking his phone for her own protection. Grace refused politely each time, saying, "I believe marriage is built on trust." But that only made them laugh harder. Soon they started calling her Sister Honesty. When she passed by, they would say loudly, "Look, Sister Honesty is coming. Maybe she'll report us to God today." One evening, as she swept the corridor, Auntie Shade said loud enough for everyone to hear, "These days, wives must be clever. If my husband drops money by mistake, I call it blessing from heaven." Finders keepers. The compound erupted in laughter. Grace smiled, shook her head, and kept sweeping. Inside, she told herself that maybe they were just joking, and perhaps one day they would understand that honesty wasn't foolishness. But what Grace didn't know was that her calmness and truthfulness had already become a challenge to them. It was like an irritating mirror showing them what they refused to be, and they swore, by all means possible, to make her see things their way. Sparkling Heart, thank you for reading Chapter 1. If you're enjoying this story, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what you think about Grace's situation. Would you have handled the compound women differently? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications bell so you don't miss the next chapter. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. See you in chapter. By the following week, the women of Riverside Estate had officially created their own organization, the Smart Wives Club of Lagos, also known as Wives Who Know Too Much. Their goal was simple: to educate village wives like Grace on how to survive marriage in the big city. The membership fee was 1 bottle of soft drink, or, if you were broke, a pack of chin-chin. Every Friday evening, when most men had gone to watch football at the viewing centers or drink beer with friends, they would gather at Mama Ngozi's veranda, sitting on plastic chairs and discussing national issues, their husbands' bank accounts, and how to make a man believe that the price of tomatoes had doubled overnight. The meetings always started with Mama Ngozi banging a wooden spoon against her enamel cup and shouting, "Ladies, order in the compound. The floor is now open for matters arising in marriage." The women would cheer and laugh, sipping tea with too much sugar. Sister Beezy, who was always first to speak, would say, "I told my husband that our daughter's school asked for extra fees. He gave me 40,000 naira, and I used half to buy a new wig. Now tell me, is that stealing, or is it self-care?" "Self-care," they all shouted in agreement. Auntie Shade would nod proudly. "Last week, I told my husband we ran out of cooking oil. He gave me money, but I borrowed oil from Sister Taupe instead. I used the cash to buy new clothes. When he came home, I told him, 'See how beautiful I look because you provided.'" Laughter filled the compound. Someone shouted, "Auntie Shade, you should be Minister of Finance." Sister Taupe, with her bright makeup, said, "My husband thinks I'm loyal, but I have a small secret account. When I say my mother is sick, that's where the money goes." A woman without a secret account is like a soldier without a weapon. The women clapped and cheered. "Wisdom, wisdom." Then Mama Ngozi turned to Grace, who had been sitting quietly at the edge of the veranda, holding her wrapper nervously. "Now, Sister Honesty, tell us your survival secrets. Don't say you don't have any, because every woman has them." Grace swallowed hard. "I don't really have any, sister. I just tell my husband the truth. I think honesty keeps peace in a home." There was silence. Then immediately, everyone burst into laughter so loud that even children playing nearby stopped to stare. "Honesty," Sister Taupe laughed until tears came. "Ah, my sister, you're still in the honeymoon phase. Wait until he hides his payslip. Then you'll understand. Mama Ngozi fanned herself dramatically. I told you. This girl still believes marriage works with Bible verses. My dear, this is Lagos, not heaven. Ani Shade leaned forward. Grace, listen to us. If you tell your husband everything, he will start treating you like his secretary. You must have your own secret money. What if he leaves you tomorrow? You'll start begging us for salt. Grace shook her head gently. But if I start lying, it means I don't trust him. I marry my friend, not my enemy. Her answer annoyed them. Your friend? Sister Beezy said loudly. Okay now, wait until he starts coming home late. Then you will understand that friendship ends on the wedding day. The women laughed again, slapping their thighs. Grace forced a smile, but her heart felt heavy. She didn't like how they spoke about marriage, as if it were a battlefield where truth never survived. When Chitty came home that night, she told him what happened. He laughed and said, Don't worry about them. People who lie always think everyone else is foolish. Just keep being you. But the more peaceful Grace remained, the more restless the other wives became. Her honesty irritated them like a persistent mosquito. It made them uncomfortable because she was living proof that a woman could be loyal without being stupid. So the next meeting became personal. Ladies, we have a problem. Mama Ngozi announced that Friday evening as rain clouds gathered overhead. This Grace is making us look like fools. Our husbands keep saying, Why can't you be like that quiet wife? Can you believe my husband compared me to her yesterday? He said, You should learn from Grace. She doesn't nag. Can you imagine? I told him, Go and marry her if you want peace. The women rolled with laughter. Ani Shade said, Even my husband too. He said, Look at how Grace respects her man. I nearly threw my pot at him. Sister Taupe rolled her eyes. Mine too. He said Grace is always neat and quiet. I told him quiet wives are dangerous. They're hiding something. Exactly, Mama Ngozi shouted. We must expose her. Nobody can be that perfect. Maybe she's pretending so she can make us look bad. But she's not pretending, Sister Beezy said uncertainly. I think she's just that kind of person. Mama Ngozi gave her a sharp look. Don't defend her. If we don't bring her down, our husbands will keep using her as an example. We'll soon lose our respect in this compound. And that was how they planned it. The women decided that the following week, they would test Grace's so-called honesty. They would create a small temptation and see if her halo would still shine. Let's give her a situation where honesty will cost her something, Auntie Shade said wickedly. Then we'll see if she will still act holy. Sister Taupe clapped her hands. Yes, if she fails, we'll tell the whole compound. If she passes, well, we'll still find something to say. They all laughed loudly, satisfied with their plan. At that very moment, Grace was in her room, kneeling beside her bed, praying and thanking God for peace in her marriage. She had no idea that on the other side of the wall, four women were plotting to test the very thing she valued most. By Sunday morning, their plan was ready. When Grace greeted them after church, smiling and saying, Good afternoon, my sisters, they smiled back sweetly, calling her our perfect wife while hiding the mischief in their eyes. As she entered her room to start cooking, they exchanged glances, and Mama Ngozi whispered, She has no idea what's coming. Sister Beezy grinned. By next week, Sister Honesty will finally join our association, whether she likes it or not. By the following week, the women of Riverside Estate had perfected their plan like students preparing for final exams. They called it Operation Make Sister Honesty Fall. They even held a rehearsal the night before, complete with role play and fake tears. Ew, Sister Beezy, Mama Ngozi said, pointing like a military commander. You'll be the main actor. Act desperate, like your life depends on it. Cry small, shake your voice, and let one tear drop. She'll believe you. Yes, Ma, Sister Beezy said, laughing. And what if she refuses? Someone asked. Then we push harder, Auntie Shade said. We'll remind her that she's supposed to be holy and kind. You know these church people, guilt works better than anything on them. They all burst out laughing. Sister Taupe added with a smirk, When she falls, we'll see if she still shines her honesty like morning sun. The next morning came bright and quiet. Children went to school. Men left for work, and the women gathered like vultures waiting for prey. Around midday, Grace was inside arranging Chitty's clothes and humming a worship song when a knock came on her door. She opened it to find Sister Beezy standing there with red, swollen eyes, holding a handkerchief and looking like sorrow itself. "Sister Beezy, what's wrong?" Grace asked with genuine concern. Sister Beezy sniffed loudly. "Grace, I didn't know who else to come to. My son is sick. The hospital said I must bring 30,000 naira for tests and medicine. I don't have anything. Please, I beg you, help me. I'll return it tomorrow, I swear." Grace's heart melted immediately. "Oh no, which hospital? What's wrong with him?" "It's little Tund," Sister Beezy said quickly, wiping fake tears. "He's burning with fever. I can't watch my child suffer like this." Grace frowned. "But I don't have that kind of money right now." Just then, as if on cue, Mama Ngozi and Auntie Shade appeared at the door, pretending to be surprised. What's happening here?" Mama Ngozi asked innocently. "Sister Beezy's son is sick," Grace explained worriedly. Mama Ngozi gasped dramatically. "God forbid. But Grace, you have money now. I saw that envelope your husband gave you to keep safe. Surely you can lend her small from it. It's for a child. You can put it back before he notices." Grace froze. "That money is not ours. It's company money. My husband said I must keep it safe until next Monday. He's supposed to deposit it at the bank." "But you're keeping it too safe already," Auntie Shade said with fake concern. "It's not like you're stealing. You're only helping a sick child. Even God will understand." Grace looked torn. Her heart wanted to help, but her conscience screamed no. Their eyes were all on her, and their voices were soft and manipulative. "Please, Grace," Sister Beezy pleaded, her voice breaking. "My child could die." That word broke her. She sighed deeply, went inside, unlocked the drawer, and carefully removed 30,000 naira from the envelope. "I trust you, Sister Beezy," Grace said quietly, handing over the money. "Please bring it back before Monday. I don't want to get in trouble." "I swear on my mother's grave," Sister Beezy said solemnly, grabbing the money. "Thank you, my sister. You've saved my baby's life." As soon as Grace closed the door, Mama Ngozi and Auntie Shade exchanged a sly smile. "You see," Mama Ngozi whispered as they walked away. "Even saints fall when you push the right button." That night, Grace could hardly sleep. She kept looking at the envelope in the drawer. She had helped out of compassion, but her conscience wouldn't let her rest. Saturday morning came, and she rushed to Sister Beezy's door. "Sister, how is Tund? Can I get the money back, please? My husband will need it by Monday." Sister Beezy was sitting outside braiding Sister Taupe's hair. She looked up lazily. Grace, what money?" Grace blinked. "The one I gave you 2 days ago. The 30,000 for Tund's hospital bill." Sister Beezy frowned as if confused. "Are you okay, Grace? I never borrowed money from you." The other women burst into laughter. "So our Sister Honesty now dreams of giving loans in her sleep," Auntie Shade said mockingly. Grace's lips trembled. "Sister Beezy, you stood right in front of me and cried. I gave you money from the envelope my husband trusted me with." Mama Ngozi clapped her hands dramatically. "You mean the company money your husband said you must protect?" Grace, don't start blaming people. Maybe you spent it, and now you're trying to cover it up." The compound children stopped playing. Everyone stopped to watch the scene unfold. Grace's face went pale. "I can't believe this," she whispered. "You were all there when I gave her the money." "Prove it," Auntie Shade said, folding her arms. "You have no witnesses, dear." The women laughed and shook their heads as if pitying her. Some neighbors who didn't know the truth started whispering, "Maybe the poor girl really lost the money and is lying." Grace's eyes filled with tears. She walked away slowly, entered her room, and locked the door. She knelt by the bed and cried, not just because of the money, but because of the betrayal. That evening, when Chitty came home, he found her sitting on the floor with red eyes. "My love, what happened?" he asked gently. She hesitated, but then told him everything. The story of the sick child, the borrowed money, the laughter, and the denial. When she finished, she said tearfully, "I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. I didn't know kindness could be punished like this." Chitty listened quietly, then lifted her chin. Grace, look at me. You did nothing wrong. You were tricked. Not because you're stupid, but because you're kind. Don't worry. The truth always finds its way home. Leave the rest to me. Grace looked at him fearfully. Are you angry? He shook his head. No. Your honesty has already solved half the problem. The truth will handle the rest. On Monday morning, Chitty left home earlier than usual, wearing his best shirt and carrying a small black folder. He greeted everyone in the compound politely, but his smile had a secret hidden behind it. By mid-morning, the peace in Riverside Estate vanished. Mr. Okonkwo, Mama Ngozi's husband, suddenly came back from work looking furious. He stomped through the gate shouting, Ngozi, where are you? What nonsense is this I'm hearing? Come out before I break this door. People rushed out to see what was happening. Mama Ngozi came out in a wrapper, still holding a spoon of EBA. What is it, my husband? Why are you shouting like this? He pointed at her furiously. Don't my husband me. You and your group of foolish women try to destroy that young girl's marriage. You taught her to take money that wasn't hers. You call yourselves smart wives? You're only smart in stupidity. Mama Ngozi stammered, acting confused. What are you talking about? Mr. Okonkwo's voice boomed. So you're still acting innocent? Chitty came to my office this morning and told me everything about your so-called wives' club and how you people tricked his wife into taking company money. You've turned this compound into a den of thieves. Gasps filled the compound. Ani Shade dropped her broom. Sister Beezy, who was standing near the tap, froze like a thief caught red-handed. Mama Ngozi's mouth opened and closed. Chitty went to your office? Yes. Mr. Okonkwo roared. And the story has reached your friends' husbands, too. They're all on their way here. Mama Ngozi's voice trembled. But we didn't mean any harm. Shut up. Because of your foolish games, all of you will face embarrassment today. You will explain your nonsense publicly. And indeed, within an hour, the men started arriving one by one, looking angry and confused. Sister Beezy's husband shouted, Beezy, come out here. So you borrowed money from another man's wife and denied it? You even made her look like a liar? Have you no shame? Sister Beezy stammered, It wasn't like that. Shut up, he snapped. You better go and return every kobo. If not, you'll sleep outside tonight. Ani Shade tried to defend her friend. It was just a joke, but her husband glared at her. You call this a joke? Since you like your association so much, go and sleep there tonight. The whole compound turned into a full-blown drama. Women cried, men shouted, children ran to hide, and neighbors pretended to sweep while actually enjoying the show. Grace stayed inside quietly, trembling. She could hear the chaos but said nothing. When Chitty returned that evening, she looked at him with guilt. It's my fault. Maybe I should have stayed silent. Chitty smiled and shook his head. No, my love. You did what was right. You told the truth, and the truth is not responsible for the noise that follows it. Outside, the compound was still vibrating with drama. Mama Ngozi's husband had locked her out, shouting, You think you're clever? Go and live with your smart wives club. She banged on the door helplessly, muttering, All this because of that naive woman. But her husband snapped back. You made his wife look like a liar in public, and now you expect silence? If she were my wife, I would have moved her out of this compound to keep her away from wolves like you. That night, while the rest of the compound lay in chaos, Grace and Chitty sat under their small veranda, sharing roasted corn. She looked at him and said quietly, It's funny. I was the one everyone laughed at for being honest, and now I feel like honesty is the only thing that saved me. He smiled. You see, my love? Lies make noise, but truth sleeps peacefully. Grace laughed, leaned her head on his shoulder, and said, Maybe that's why the whole compound can't sleep tonight. The story of Sister Honesty and the Smart Wives Club traveled across Lagos faster than Danfo buses in morning traffic. From the local market to the church, people talked about the quiet wife who had been mocked for her honesty, but rose when truth scattered an entire gang of deceitful women. Some said she was lucky. Others said she was wise. But everyone agreed on one thing. Honesty might walk slowly, but it never gets lost. Then on a Wednesday afternoon, something extraordinary happened. A shiny black SUV stopped in front of the compound. The door opened, and a tall, serious-looking man in a suit stepped out, carrying a briefcase. He walked with purpose, his shoes too clean for riverside dust. Children ran to peek through the gate, and someone whispered, maybe the landlord sent a lawyer to evict people. But when a man asked, "Is this where Mr. Chitty lives?" everyone froze. "Chitty," Mama Ngozi muttered from her window, coming out quickly. Yes, he stays in that last room. What's the matter?" The man smiled politely. "I'm Mr. Adebayo, Director of Operations at Digital Solutions Tech. I came to see him and his wife." Within seconds, the entire compound transformed. Ani Shade started sweeping her veranda as if cleanliness would erase her shame. Sister Taupe shouted at her children, "Stop making noise." Even Mama Ngozi, who hadn't greeted Grace in days, quickly volunteered to help the visitor find the right door. "Chitty, your important visitor is here," she called sweetly. Chitty stepped out looking surprised, followed by Grace, who looked nervous. "Good afternoon, sir," Chitty said respectfully. "Please come in." Mr. Adebayo smiled warmly. "No, I'll speak here so everyone can hear." That caught everyone's attention. Heads popped out of every window. Children stopped playing. The wives came out and sat quietly, pretending to peel vegetables but actually listening with both ears. The director cleared his throat. "Mr. Chitty, when you reported what happened, the company decided to investigate the matter carefully. It's not every day we find an employee's wife who chooses honesty over convenience. Your wife's actions protected company funds, and that kind of integrity must be celebrated." He turned to Grace. "Madam, on behalf of Digital Solutions Tech, I want to thank you for your honesty. We are promoting your husband to senior software engineer, and both of you will be relocated to a company apartment in Lekki. We need families like yours, families that show what integrity truly means." The compound gasped collectively. Someone dropped a plate. Ani Shade nearly fainted. Grace's eyes widened. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say much," the director said kindly. "Your life already said it." He shook her hand and handed her an envelope. "Inside is a gift from the company. For you, not your husband. Use it as you wish. You deserve it." As the black SUV drove away, the compound lost control. People who once mocked her now sang her praises. Even children chanted, "Sister Honesty, #1 wife." Chitty looked at his wife proudly. "You see, my love? The truth may walk slowly, but it never gets lost." Mama Ngozi came closer, smiling awkwardly. "Grace, congratulations. I always knew you were a good woman." Grace smiled and simply said, "It's all right, Mama Ngozi. We've all learned something." That evening, as they packed their belongings, the compound gathered quietly, watching in silence. Ani Shade whispered to Sister Beezy, "Imagine all this because she refused to lie." Sister Beezy sighed. "Sometimes we think we're clever, but we're just digging holes for ourselves." From her doorway, Mama Ngozi watched them carry their things out, her eyes full of regret. 1 month later, the sound of Silver Car made everyone look up. When the doors opened, they were shocked to see Grace and Chitty stepping out gracefully, dressed beautifully. They had come to return the keys to the landlord formally. When the women saw them, they froze. Mama Ngozi was first to speak. "Grace, is that you? You look so different. City life is treating you well." Grace smiled warmly. "Good afternoon, my sisters." They gathered around her slowly, each one filled with admiration and shame. Sister Beezy swallowed hard. "We just wanted to say sorry for everything. We mocked you. We made you feel foolish. But now we see that you were right all along." Ani Shade nodded quickly. "We thought honesty was stupidity, but we were the fools. Look at you now. You have peace, respect, and blessings. But we have only regrets." Even Mama Ngozi spoke quietly. "Grace, forgive me. I led them astray. My mouth destroyed my own peace. My husband has never looked at me the same since that day." Grace sighed deeply. "I forgave you all long ago. You didn't hurt me as much as you hurt yourselves. You see, when you build with lies, the house looks shiny, but one small wind can scatter it. Truth may take time, but it builds foundations that don't fall." She smiled kindly. "Maybe this will help you remember. Being clever doesn't mean being dishonest. It means doing the right thing, even when everyone else laughs at you. The women nodded quietly, tears in their eyes. From that day forward, whenever a new wife moved into Riverside Estate, Mama Ngozi herself would say, "My sister, please be like that Grace woman. Don't listen to gossip. Honesty might look foolish at first, but it ends with blessings." And each time she said it, the other wives would nod in agreement. They had learned their lesson the hard way. Meanwhile, in their new home in Lekki, Grace would sometimes sit on the balcony watering her flowers while Chitty read his tablet. One day, he told her, "Do you know people still talk about you at the office?" Grace laughed. "About me? What? They call you the honest wife of Riverside." It's become a story they tell new staff to teach them about integrity. Grace laughed even more. Then maybe it was all worth it. Even the mockery, even the tears. Sometimes God lets people laugh at you first, so he can give them a reason to applaud later. Chitty pulled her close. And that, my love, is why honesty will always win in the end. The end. Sparkling heart, and that's the end of our story. What lessons did you take away from Grace's journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Backhand index pointing down. If this story blessed you, touched you, or taught you something valuable, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your family and friends who need to hear this message, and subscribe to this channel for more inspiring stories. Bell. Remember, honesty might be tested, mocked, and challenged, but it will always lead to blessings in the end. Stay true, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next story. Bye for now. Two Heart Sparkles, ****.